What is going on, everybody? Bobby Fi with Eric Sheetshaber. We're going to be talking through the two-game NBA slate. We're back. It's finally here. It's happening. I'm really excited. I'm just trying to get used to all the new tools and the new Saber Sim. It's really awesome. I just want you guys to be able to know to check that out. Also, I don't have it up right now, but we do have a promo code NBA 25 for 25% off of your first month. And we are doing an NBA yearly for 10% off of the yearly packages. So wanted to get that out of the way and then say, Sheets, we're back, man. What are we doing tonight? And we'll see how similar we are.
Most important and the key to the NBA is to get yourself a cushion. So I solo took down the tennis slate today for 5,000.
Let's go. I didn't even see that. That's awesome.
Yep. I tweeted it. I'm ready. I got a little bit of a cushion. So we'll that's always the key to the NBA. But for those of you that haven't been with us, I mean, Bobby is notorious for winning these short opening day slates where no one's really ready to start off yet. So
I like the 2 gamers and the 14 gamers. That's where I try.
So the one thing that I would mention before we even get into it, and I didn't really look at FanDuel too much, but the one guy who really just is a different price on FanDuel than DraftKings is Hachimura.
Yeah.
And boy, what a surprise! The ownership is following it. That's crazy. Yeah. So he's at 4,200 on FanDuel. I have it 52% ownership. It could be higher. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what people are actually going to do. You have anything different? Any hoodoos, or we just got to just play it straight today?
Yeah, I did. So just looking through the list of guys, so these are not, there's some non-hoodoo ones, but I'm way over the field on guys like Anthony Edwards. I have him at like 40% instead of, I think he'll be in the low 20s probably. I did force in some of my hand builds and in my regular lineups as well. I did force in, who did I force in over here? Oh, no, sorry. I loved Dalton Connect. I have 35% of him in general.
Ooh, that's a big number.
I'm trying to get different. And look, it's worth speculating early in the season on these things. And coming off of the game where he just scored 20 points in a row and 35 points. And I love the guy anyway. I think he's going to be right in there for the rookie of the year, as I talked about earlier. I really think that that's a good guy to get overweight on. And then the other ones are the Boston things. So I actually have Tillman in one of my big buy-ins, which I know sounds crazy. He's got no ownership, basically no projection. I mean, still he's got his projection is close enough to guys who are going to be owned around him. But why, if Luke Cornett's going to be 10 or 12%, and he's going to be, 2%, I'll take my chances there. I'll just go. I have like almost 10% of Tillman and in one of my big buy-ins. I also have 15% of Cornett. I did not get to much, but I have a little bit of the Jordan Walsh. I think I have like 3 lineups with him. And I was trying to specifically go underweight guys like Horford, who I don't love the ownership on. And it's partly, it sort of correlates because if I'm not playing Horford, then I'm playing Cornett or Tillman. So I do have a lot of that stuff. And we mentioned Nickeil Alexander-Walker earlier. Not way off the board, but he's in one of my big buy-ins, and I have him at about 12%, nothing crazy. I did want to force in some Jaden McDaniels because he's the only guy who's going to play like 35 minutes who's getting no ownership. And you just hope that things go his way. Better play on FanDuel because of the steals and blocks. But I did want to force in some of the Jaden Daniels. So I guess those are my get funky guys. Gabe Vincent is the last one, but not anything big. Just in the smaller buy-ins, I did want to get like 5% of Gabe Vincent, who I don't think anyone's going to play either. So that's sort of where I'm at. What are you getting to?
I don't know. I'm starting to run some stuff right now. And in the lottery, I'm doing some Geo mean stuff. And I usually don't do this in the NBA, but with the 2-game slate, I feel as though I sort of have to. Hold on. I'll be done with this in a second. I think maybe Miles McBride could be something different, I suppose.
I think he's going to be pretty popular.
Ugh, great. I did mention like thematically that I like DiVincenzo instead of Conley, and I like Reeves instead of D'Angelo Russell. Maybe that's again NBA is just so hard to like come up with anything that bizarre.
Right. The only thing is that early in the season, that's why I like this speculating on the like you mentioned DiVincenzo. I've got him 40%. I know he's going to be 20 some odd percent, but still get above the field on him. Jaylen Brown's another one I've got 25% of, and he is around 20. Not a huge difference. I did want to get some of the Minot just because I read some of the talking about him, and I still think there's a chance he may not even play, but he is 3K, and there aren't that many guys 3K flat. I even ended up with a little bit of your Dadier, the rookie, just because, again, it's just because the value and what it is. Tried to force him, like I mentioned, get guys like
I wouldn't play too much of him, though. I mean,
no. I think I've got him. I got him.
I mean, he might not play at all.
He's literally in. Where's my exposure? Why can't I find my exposures? He very well may not play at all. I didn't think he was going to play at all, but then the more I dug today, it seemed like
they're going to let him play, you think?
It seemed like there's a chance he gets on the court at least. Here we go. So, I've got 1% of them, so it's not like I was going way overboard on it. Max Christie, I have 12% of. There's a low-owned play that I just decided to gamble on the upside for the future. Jericho Sims, I think I ended up probably closer to the field, which I really would like to have gotten a little bit higher on him than I did. But he's another one of the ones. The other value pieces like Jackson Hayes, but I kind of like this Tillman idea, and that's sort of the one that I am committing more dollar amounts to of the value plays that no one's going to play. And then he and Connect would be the two for me. So those are the ones I sort of ended up with. But like you said, it is hard to get different, and I do think it benefits early in the year to try to take some gambles, and that's why I said Nickeil Alexander-Walker could easily play a bunch of minutes tonight, and is not being treated that way. Max Christie and Dalton Connect, as well as potentially Gabe Vincent. The only thing is they're going to let Bronny play like some minutes, which is going to take away from his. Did they still not project Bronny for anything? Let me just see something.
No, I got him for something.
He has to have some projection because there's no.
I have him at
there.
I have 2.45 fantasy points.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I have him at 3.85 minutes.
That sounds about right to me as well.
I have ownership 0.92%.
Yeah. So Scafino. Okay, so let's look up Scafino here because I actually don't even know. I didn't even think of it. I don't even have Scafino as a player. I don't really.
Who's this you're talking about?
I know a Scafino in the NBA. There's a Scafino in the NBA. I literally didn't even have him on my.
Do you have Jacob Toppin?
I don't know what that Scafino thing is. Honestly, I don't even know who you're talking about. To be honest, there's no unless you spelled it wrong. I literally don't even. I know the Scafino last name, but I don't even know who that would be. Jimmy, don't even know what that is. Because I don't know, never would have crossed my mind anyway. But I don't think there's anything too cute to answer that question. But I would at least try to err on the side of playing guys who are going to play at least 1 minute. That's not. Scafino. Okay, Hood Scafino for the Lakers. I'm sorry. My guess is that there's almost no way in the world that guy plays any minutes tonight. I can't imagine where they would come from. Oddly enough, he's not even in the player pool for some reason. Why is he not in the player pool though? It's spelled differently, but still, why is it? I don't even have Scafino in the player pool. I don't know if he's not dressing tonight. It's possible that he just doesn't dress. He's literally the Lakers 14th man, basically. So I would not be messing with that. Why is he not coming up though? Oh, there he is. Finally, I've got him at a 0 projection. I can't see why they would play him. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe a blowout or certain angles, but I think there's so many better angles to take than that one. And Bronny was not sandbagging. That's pretty funny. But Bronny is just don't play Bronny tonight. It's if there was a night to play him, it'd be tonight, and this is not a night to play him. So I'm not going to be recommending Bronny James anytime soon in DFS. Just looks completely lost out there. I think what I will say is I think he's actually a legitimate NBA player in 3 years. I just don't think he's nearly there yet. I think he's got the right attitude. He's a hard worker. He's a good defender. He's a good athlete. So, but he just has no business playing in the NBA at the moment. And you get exposed really quickly these days. And this is a game that no one's going to take lightly. They had that starting 5 show. Street said they did the golf show. They did the NASCAR thing on Netflix. They did all the other ones. They did the basketball one, the starting 5. I just finished it last night. And I'll tell you, man, if you don't want to play Anthony Edwards every day after watching that, when his first kid's being born and he left the game in halftime, but he's in the hospital the whole time watching the game on the TV as he's holding the daughter, just because he's so obsessed about a regular season win, 40 games into the season. He's just like, I love the guy. I love him. And I think he has a big breakout year.
Yeah, I'd rather. I mean, who wants to be dealing with that shit when you could be playing basketball?
Yeah, he was like, I don't want to be here. But I'm very, very high on him this year. And then all those the questions that we get asked of these things is LeBron or AD. It's AD for me. The only thing you would say about LeBron tonight over AD would be the fact that there is narrative there. He's lost every opening day game since he's been on the Lakers. They just have the Netflix special, and there's only 5 guys featured, and 2 of them are Anthony. One of them's Anthony Edwards, one of them's LeBron, and his son is playing with him. So maybe he wants to go out there and put up 40 in front of his son. I don't think all that matters enough for me to not just say AD over LeBron.
Yeah,
I'm guessing that it's probably going to be the same for you.
Yep. I mean, AD is the better player. I mean, how much cat are you coming up with?
So I ended up with a lot. I think it's hard to get away from personally. Oh, the other one I have a big take on is Randall. I'm way over on Randall. He's in between both sides, he's in 3 out of my 4 highest buy-ins. So I'm playing a little bit of a narrative, and maybe, hey, this actually works. And I think Minnesota has a little bit of a stake in trying to make it work. So if I'm not getting to Edwards, I am going to take some shots with the Randall going back to LA, who he's just, I mean, for those of you guys who are Laker fans or DFS people, he torches LA every time he goes in there, unless the game's got out of hand. So I'm big on the Randall narrative a little bit more than most, because people are just, I think he's actually going to be lower owned than he's projected right now. Let me just see where we've got him. Yeah, they got him around 15. I'm sorry, Randall's going to be less owned, I was going to say, he'll probably end up around 10% owned. And I think being overweight that is a good idea, just even speculatively.
But I think Reed. I'll play the younger guy. I like Reed over Gobert, DiVincenzo over Russ, over Conley, Reeves over Russell. These types of guys.
Yeah, the one who I ended up with a lot of that I felt a little bit funny is I love OG as a real life basketball player. He's a guy I would want on my team desperately. But he can play a million minutes and literally put up no fantasy points.
And a newbie?
I don't like how many points I don't know how much I'm getting to him. Because he will go out there and just try to lock down on defense, and he's going to have to guard Tatum and Brown all night long. So that's another argument for potential foul trouble, which brings the Knicks bench into play, which is tricky, to say the least. Yeah, you got the super cheapos. Jericho Sims is somebody I wouldn't mind, maybe being overweight on. We mentioned Mikal Bridges earlier. I think the price just makes it a little too tricky for me on DraftKings. However, Mikal Bridges on FanDuel at 6,200, which again, prices are different. They're on FanDuel, everybody's like 1,000 more. So when we see Bridges over there at 6,200, I think if you're going to play Bridges, you want to try to keep him mostly on FanDuel, in my opinion. The other one that stood out on FanDuel to me a little bit, or that just, maybe not even stood out, but I got to more Drew Holiday. The one that's weird is Brunson is actually too cheap on FanDuel, so I probably should try to figure out a way to get that. And it's interesting that if you get Brunson, and I mean he's more expensive than Cat, don't get me wrong, but the projections seem to think a little bit higher of Cat than they do of Brunson, or within whatever 2 fantasy points of each other. Doesn't it seem like a low number for Brunson, or am I just lost because in the playoffs he was putting up 65 to 75 every game?
Yeah, I mean, the playoff basketball is just different.
It is, and also they've got more weapons now than they did before, so it's a very different situation. But I still think that he's gone out there. I saw a couple guys who I respect pick him to win the MVP this year. I don't think that's going to happen, but
who? Jalen Brown?
Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson?
Yeah,
that's tough.
It's tough to win the MVP. It really is. I have Luka. The long shot, I have Wemby. And in the middle, I kind of like the idea of, honestly, the narratives around Tatum are the reason why I could see it happening. I don't really see him putting up the numbers where it's going to happen with how loaded their team is. But
I don't think he's can put up those numbers either. I mean, I think he's kind of just interested in winning,
Yeah. I just think it doesn't quite work. But I'm very excited about the connect. I just hope they give him minutes, the minutes that he deserves.
He doesn't deserve anything yet. I mean,
I think he does. I mean, you know, this kid is. I've seen nothing but to make me think that he's anything but awesome. And I don't, you know, the Lakers need shooting in general.
Yeah,
he can do that, and he can attack the basket.
The thing is, it just depends on how well he gets along with LeBron, I guess.
I know. Oh, please tell me he becomes like LeBron's guy, because you're right. That does seem to dictate what the Lakers end up doing. They showed LeBron every time he was on that show. Every time he's in his room with all the other players, it's always the other guys who were like, "Why is this guy playing so much?" And then you see him up in the room playing cards with LeBron in his hotel room.
That's really funny. That's really funny.
It's like,
who is the dude that LeBron like hated? Taylor Horton Tucker.
Oh yeah, right.
He ran him right out of the league, I think.
Right out of town, and then to Utah, basically in no man's land. Method Man's pointing out that AD almost had 100 points against Minnesota last year, fantasy points. I think that's right. He did have a monster game, and you can see my core right here. This is what I ended up, and usually I won't show everything on here because we have band members. But this was what I decided was my core for the day. And again, nothing too outlandish, but I did like getting to DiVincenzo.
When you put a core in there, how many do you put in?
I change it every time, but I felt like usually I don't want to be the guy who puts 3 guys in as a core. So if I put 7 guys in, that means I have all of them over 30%, basically.
Okay.
Almost always. But I also, and DiVincenzo, I wanted to get a little different, not different, but I wanted to play him more than the field was. I just wanted to make sure that I agreed with your comment about Conley earlier. And look, if Conley wins the slate, I'm dead because
I'm not going to be counting on him winning the slate for me.
No, and even if he plays great, he can still put up only like 28 or 30. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean and I think there is some theory in that's my other take from tonight is that I think stacking a little bit heavier, it makes a lot more sense just because of the 2 games, and if one does turn ugly, that you'd like to have the stack of the other one. So like if I'm playing the Lakers Minnesota with 5 players or 6 players, then the other 2 guys are going to be value pieces from Boston and New York, pretending that game didn't happen the way that that it didn't stay close. And I feel pretty good about that. There's another guy who is not projected with anything tonight that I just have to mention. He is projected now. He's got 1% ownership, and actually, SaberSim has him at 0 points, but he's got ownership. Not by SaberSim, but both you and Goldie have it. And I think he'll have a couple people take a shot. I think Rob Dillingham is going to be really, really good.
Who is that?
He's the guy so they traded up in the draft to get him, and they took him with the 7th or 8th overall pick.
What college did he go to?
Dillingham went to Kentucky, I believe, which basically means he's going to be a superstar no matter what. I think he went to Kentucky. I stopped paying as much attention to college basketball as I used to. I wish I did.
I was paying attention in the brackets. I don't remember him. Did Kentucky even make the tournament? What did they do in the tournament?
I don't think they made the tournament this year.
Okay.
Where did he go? Or no, maybe did he end up going to just coming out having to go? Oh, he went to overtime elite. That's what happened. He played at overtime elite, not college. Oh,
okay.
But I watched him doing the training thing, and there's a lot of guys in the league who I respect who think he's going to be really, really good, explosive in a poor man's Anthony Edwards type of way, which everybody who tries to be like Edwards is a poor man's Anthony Edwards. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Any other questions or thoughts, guys? Drop them on in here. It's one of the rare nights we're not going to be waiting on a lot of news. We have to wait on.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Starting right, and then all of a sudden, after all this, Rob Dillingham ends up starting. Like that's the kind of thing you're going to see. And
all right, I'm going to actually get going.
Okay.
That's all I got. We have a much bigger slate tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do a live thing later in the night. That's for sure. I got a ticket for the 888, which I use. And that'll do it. We're all playing for second tonight. Bobby, congratulations in advance. And I'll catch up to you later.
All right, buddy. Take it easy. All right, guys. Anybody else have any questions? I'm happy to answer them. Go back and forth. Please hit the like button and all that. I'm happy to answer it. Like I said, it's a 2-gamer, so we kind of talked through pretty much everybody really, really hard. I tried to game theory a little bit of this stuff, but even still, you're just going to end up with chalkier lineups than usual. I think there's a couple guys, like you could leave like 500 on the table in your McBride lineups, and I just think other people will use the 500. That's something you could do. It's just, there's not that many tricky ways outside of what I mentioned with Connect, speculating on him, speculating on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, speculating on Gabe Vincent, speculating on all the Bostons, the Sam Hauser, the Luke Cornett. Pritchard's more than a speculation, but the one I'm speculating on, I'm telling you, I think there's a reasonable chance that Xavier Tillman is on the winning lineup tonight. That's my weird one. What's your role in building lineups? I don't understand the question, Sir Yacht. Happy to answer it, but what's my role in building lineups for these types of slates? Oh, you mean rule? I'm guessing you mean rule. I don't have a general rule. I just showed you this is the build, and I won't do this any other night because it's unfair to the subscribers. But I will show my exposure right now. Sounds always weird to say out loud. This is where I'm at exposure-wise on these guys. You can see, obviously, basketball, you're going to be going with mostly chalk. But as I mentioned, and I hand-built with Connect, so I actually have over 30% Connect. That's my that and Julius Randle. I've also got 30% of when you factor in the hand builds. Those are the guys who I went over on. You can see I went heavy on the Tillman. I'm willing to speculate. Look, 2 quick fouls for Horford. Maybe he twists something. Maybe he's just old and they're going to lower his minutes. Why does it have to be Cornette? At the same time, I like Cornette. So I'm mixing and matching those 2 guys. Who else did I get to that's a little bit weird here? Max Christie. I've got, 4 times the field on him. This is my exposure and my ownership. So, and this is all run with Sims, but I just dictated what I wanted. And you can see I put my min max. I did enter almost every player. So it's the sim, and then you enter the min max afterwards. I like that better. That's just the way that I like to do it. And then with the new Saber sim, let's go away from here. I ended up with 2 min uniques on my thing. I use Sheets projections, not Saber sim. So just trying to get different inherently while making a few stands on some guys I want to speculate on early in the season. And I don't know if the Lakers will play him as much as they should, but I am very high personally on the Connect potential upside here. And I think sharp people will play him more. My guess he's a higher buy and a higher owned play. And I think that's what's going to be the case. Whenever that happens, that means at least the people who do this the best are thinking the same way you are. So I'll take it either way. But these are my builds. This is it. I can show you, I can scroll down through some of them, but I don't really want to just give everything away for free. For any site member, I post my exposures and everything in the Discord every day, as well as posting it on the site. Or I post my early look on the site. I post my late ones on the Discord because usually don't have time in NBA. And yeah, that's sort of running it from there. You can see I'm getting to that Tillman. Rody, come on, I love you, Rody. How can you ask who is the sharp play on a 2-game slate? They're all the sharp plays, man. But also that's how do we figure that one out? I don't know. This is my core. That's the core guys I'm using. Everybody in this is over 30% of my exposure. Forget the fact that it's 26 for DiVincenzo. He's in 2 of my highest buy-ins, which puts him at like 34%. All right. And yeah, the sharp, the get, there's no sharp, the get weird plays are the guys I mentioned. The Connect, one of Tillman or Cornette, Sam Hauser, Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent, Max Christie. Max Christie would be the other one that I like. So I would say Connect Christie. These guys need to start getting some more run. Yes, they're going to let LeBron play like 4 or 5 minutes. I don't think it's going to be much more than that. So I'm not doing anything like that. Thoughts on a single stat? I have no idea what that means. Let me know what that means, Lathan, because I don't have a clue at what a single stat means. A single stat? I honestly don't know what that means. We were asked a question in chat earlier. No. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Rody. Oh, I hear you. I think I was saying the sharp play was DiVincenzo, but I also think there is a bust path there for sure. I just would like to be. I don't think his ownership is going to be quite as high as it's projected. That's just my take. And I think that it's pretty sharp to get ahead of the field on Edwards this season. Maybe it's not tonight, but it's going to happen plenty of times where he goes completely nuts and is the highest scoring player on the slate. And it could be tonight that he ends up as the highest scoring player. But I like the Connect thing. That's what I'm sticking to. And that's where I'm at. You guys have a great, no problem, Rody. I know, buddy. I didn't know. It's always hard because there's a 10-second delay. So if you say something, like I don't know what there were people referring to. But Lathan, ask your question one more time before I get out of here. I'm happy to answer anything else we have. You see my exposures. I'm giving away everything today. We're not going to do this every day, but this is where I'm at with everything. Kind of surprised that I'm a little bit, I don't have more guys in the 50% plus range. Actually, when I look at because of my hand builds, which I did hand build a number of lineups as well, I actually am above 50% on 4 guys, and that would be Tatum, McBride, Towns, and Hart. McBride definitely has a bust path, but I just needed the value, and it's hard on 2 game slates to get that. So that's where I'm at. All right. Looks like Mark, good question. Hatchimura is like the guy I'm not that into on DraftKings, but at 4,200 really makes a lot of things work on FanDuel. So yes, I do like that play quite a bit. And looking back at my lineups, I think I would like to get more. I think I would like a little bit more of Jalen Brunson on FanDuel. There's an outside chance. I just want to point out, though, there really is an outside chance that Anthony Edwards just is a whole different guy this year. But he's been great anyway. But it could really become his team. I'm playing more Randall than I thought I was going to. Just beware, though. It really could become Edwards' team, just all Edwards all the time. This could be the 30-point a game year, plus actually. So. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you all very much. Please click the like on the way out of here. I'm going to get out of here. I'll answer any questions if you guys have them in Discord. Make sure to tag me, and I will go through it. And let's make some money tonight. Let's get the NBA started off right. We got the big